The foundation of every becoming is a mindset transformation, and the path to every destination is training. Welcome to another episode of our Leadership Mindset podcast with Ifeanyi. This is the place where we uncover the myths, the mysteries, and the principles of leadership to help you undertake your leadership journey effectively. Now, let's dive into what we have for today. All right, welcome again to our Leadership Mindset podcast. I believe our last episode blessed you, and I would like you to go on and share with me what blessed you most in the comment section. Right? So in this episode, we'll be talking about the elements of power, like the abilities that will make you successful in leadership. Yeah, there are things you need to make you successful in leadership. And we said in our last episode that leadership did not begin with titles or position, rather it begins with responsibility. And in view of that, we saw there are 4 practical steps for you to begin your leadership journey. Number 1 of them is observation. Number 2 is question. Number 3 is empowerment, to seek empowerment. And number 4 is to take action. And we are going to look further in the subject of empowerment. As time goes on, we'll look into other areas like observation and question if necessary. If I deem it necessary, talk about that. But then let's just go further in this issue of empowerment, because it's a very important thing. It's pivotal also in carrying out leadership, right? All right. So you may be willing to lead. You may even have a desire to change your family, your community, your organization, or your generation. But willingness is not enough. What it requires is capacity. Leadership does not only require responsibility, it requires capacity also, right? So today we are going to answer that important question. What gives a leader the power to lead effectively? What gives you the power to lead? Because after you have observed, after you have asked questions, you know what is the problem, what you must do. How do you begin to do it if you don't have the power? You see? So I will show you in this episode 5 essential powers that every leader must develop to lead efficiently in any sphere of life, and how you can begin to develop these capacities. But remember this, responsibility may begin your leadership journey, but capacity determines how far your leadership can go. You can take up on leadership out of burden, but if you don't develop the capacity, you will not be able to sustain leadership. So empowerment is what sustains what is going on in your life. Anything that is happening, any good thing requires power to sustain. Once power is removed, it goes off. In this episode, I want you to know there are things I want you to know first. I want you to first of all to understand that all of us are born with the potential of leadership. We are all born with that potential. But however, potential does not make the leader alone. Leadership is developed through intentional growth. So I said here that every seed carries the potential for a tree, but only the seed that is nurtured, which is maturity. In the same way, every person has leadership potential, but only those who intentionally develop themselves become effective leaders. And one thing you must always call to mind is this. Every time you hear potential, what is calling you is responsibility. Because we define responsibility as your response to ability. So every time you hear potential, hear responsibility. Second thing I want you to take note of is this. While we are called to apply leadership mindset, leadership principles in every area of our life, we lead from a sphere. You will apply leadership mindsets, and that's what I'm teaching you in every area of your life, but there is a sphere that you will lead from. And this sphere is what I call leadership platforms. What is a leadership platform? A leadership platform is any environment, role, responsibility, organization, community, or opportunity through which your leadership is expressed and your influence is multiplied. Let me say it again. A leadership platform is any environment, role, responsibility, organization, community, or opportunity through which your leadership is expressed and your influence is multiplied. It can be your family, your workplace, your business environment, your church, your classroom, your profession, your social media community, your organization. And for me, for instance, this platform is is a platform for me to lead you. I'm influencing you from this place. You see, that's an example. So leadership platforms are God's means of empowering us to influence others. So, for instance, for Adam, who is that's where it began, right? God placed him in the garden. That was a platform for him to begin to exercise leadership. Seeking empowerment, therefore, does not mean running from place to place looking for power. No, it means intentionally building yourself. And look at this, either finding or building the right platform through which your leadership can be expressed. Seeking empowerment is not about running. You know, in our day, we go to conferences, and in fact, I organize conferences. And in fact, I'm inviting you to our leadership conference in the end of this year, December. We are trusting God. We are planning for it. So once the date and time is made obvious, we'll announce it on our media platform. So stay tuned to that. You know, just to clarify this, when we talk about discovering yourself, I told you that there's no school, there's no physical school. You say this is school of discovery. There is none. So self-discovery is you getting in touch with your depths, with who you are, with the core of your being, and then finding pictures that matches it. You see this? So it's not like running up and down. There must be first that getting in touch with yourself so that you can now find your definitions. You see this? So that's what it is. It means intentionally building yourself and either finding or building the right platform through which leadership can be expressed. Every great leader does one of two things. Either they leverage one existing platform or they build a new one. For instance, Joseph leveraged Pharaoh's government. Nehemiah had to rebuild Jerusalem. Paul was a foundational builder. He built churches. You see, David, in case, he inherited the throne. But the question is this: it's not whether you have a platform, whether you are preparing yourself to maximize it. So these empowerments I'm going to show you are the empowerments that you need to maximize the one you have or to build the one you need. So what are these 5 elements of power that you need as a leader to lead successfully? Number 1 is vision. Number 1 is vision. In my own terms of definition of vision, I said that vision is the ability to comprehend desire. So you have a desire, but you have to comprehend it, right? Then interpret it, and then put it into plans and strategies that will take you to that desire. Like we said, leadership is a system that models people's aspiration. So vision is the ability to interpret that aspiration, that to comprehend that aspiration, interpret it rightly, and then put down plans, strategies that will take you to that. I hope you get what I said now. Because it's not just dreaming. Vision is far beyond dreaming. It's important because if you don't have this, what it means is this. Vision is not that you dreamt. Vision is that you come into a place, you're able to comprehend what people are wanting to do. Maybe you came to a company, you want to work in a company, you have to be able to comprehend what they are doing. So it means that vision is a product of knowledge, in bracket, education. If you have not been educated in a system, you can't have a vision for that system. You cannot. You can't tell me that you have a vision to save souls if you have not been educated. You can have a desire, but your desire cannot become a vision. You need education. So I said here that vision is the product of knowledge. The more clearly you understand God's purpose, people, possibilities, the clearer your vision becomes. And that's true. And that's true. I can tell you this. The more you understand God's purpose, the more you understand things, the more you understand people, the more you understand, that's where your vision becomes clearer. That's why it's something that is ongoing. So vision is the ability to see a preferred future clearly enough to pursue it and inspire others to pursue it with you. So knowledge reveals possibilities. possibilities becomes vision. Vision then gives birth to purpose, and then purpose produces plans. Without vision, leadership has no direction. You cannot be efficient in leadership if you don't have vision. You don't have the capacity. I'm not saying you have the vision for yourself. I'm saying you have the capacity to comprehend people's desires, interpret it rightly, and then give them plans and strategies that can lead them there. You will have to follow that plan. In fact, that is God's blueprint. That is what we are reading in the Bible. All this while, that God said, "Let there be light on earth." He began to create the earth, and He gave us an end. You see, that this is what makes God God. That He says, "I said the end at the beginning." He said, "I'm the one that declares the end from the beginning." Meaning, He has a plan. That is the point. So, with a vision, you are capacited as God. And I've told us here that leadership is that we are here. We will not be mentioning God so much, not because God is absent from what you are doing, but because leadership is you manifesting God. Yes, leadership is you manifesting God. Leadership is you expressing God. So the second ability, capacity you must develop is scale. These are abilities that comes to us, but then you have to develop them. So vision shows you where to go, but skills helps you to get there. You know, let me not bring spirituality, but spirituality is the foundation of everything you're doing, right? For instance, there is ability we have in the Holy Ghost, in the Spirit of God, to heal the sick, faith, wisdom, and those things. But you have to develop them. For instance, Daniel had to develop his abilities into his skill. When Nebuchadnezzar called had a dream and could not, said he would not tell anybody, they should tell him and interpret it, he went and prayed. Meanwhile, in Daniel chapter 1 verse 17, the Bible tells us that God gave him understanding in dreams and vision. You see, so he had to pray. But the time came, he didn't have to pray again. He had developed the skill. It has become a skill. The gift has become a skill. So when we say skills here, it's mostly like you finding the skills that is inherent in you, developing them. It's also finding the skills required for the platform you are leading from. You see this? So you don't cage yourself with my talent. No. You have to go beyond your talent, explore, find skills, build them, develop them so that you can lead. There are a lot of them, and I will show you here. Skills are developed through training, learning, practice, and experience. And every sphere of leadership demands different skills. You see, that's why I told you, you have to know the ones you have, and you have to find the ones that is needed for your assignment. A business leader requires financial and strategic thinking. A teacher requires communication. You see what I'm doing? I'm showing you because this is something we have been practicing. You don't know how much I practice. I practice with myself. You don't know. I practice a lot. Sometimes off camera, I'll be, doing some things. Don't mind, but that's the truth. You have to practice. You have to train. You have to learn. You have to seek wisdom from people who have had experience. Right? So a pastor requires the ability to teach, to shepherd, and to disciple. A leader should constantly ask. As a leader, you should only ask, what skill do I need for the assignment God has given to me? There are a lot of them: communication, emotional intelligence, planning, problem solving, conflict resolution, and decision making are just a few skills every leader should continue developing. So look at the goal here. The goal is continue developing. You don't stop. You don't stop. And I want to show you an example of which I always use the Bible as an example, not because I've not read other books of leadership, but I found the Bible as a typical book of leadership. Look at Moses. Moses was educated in the wisdom of Egypt, but he couldn't lead Israel. You see, although Egypt had taught him everything about governance, but Israel is a people without shepherd. They are like sheep. They are a people without coordination, without governance. So it takes a different ability, mindset, skill to lead a people without governance than the people that already have a governance. It means that these people don't have structures. Don't have structures. They don't have structures. They don't have systems that guides them. You see, so Moses had to go to the wilderness to learn how to lead sheep for him to be able to lead the children of Israel. So, what kind of skill do you need? That's why leadership differs in different places. So, you must learn the kind of skill you need for the kind of leadership you are meant to exhibit. The next capacity you must develop is discipline. Yes, discipline is another capacity that will not just give you platform, but sustain the platform. I said here that talent may open doors, but discipline keeps them open. Discipline is the bridge between potential and consistent performance. It is here that the character becomes visible. That's the character quotient. That's the character quotient, yes, of leadership. There is the vision quotient, there is the skill quotient, there is the character quotient. So Jesus described himself by saying, I am gentle and humble in heart. His power was sustained by his character. You see, his power was sustained by his character. Without discipline, gifts become dangerous. The skills you have in quote will become dangerous. Without character, influence eventually collapses. A leader must learn to master his emotions, his habits, priorities, and desires before attempting to lead others. So the issue of discipline is learning how to tame yourself. The issue of discipline is learning how to master your emotions, how to rule yourself. That's the issue of discipline. Then the third ability you must develop is strength. Strength here is not just muscles, it's structure and system. Strength is not muscle, structure and system. Strength is not merely physical ability, it is systems, structures, and wisdom. I said that leadership strength is built through systems, structures, and wisdom. A leader who depends only on personal effort will eventually become exhausted. Moses was an example. He was leading Israel just by himself until his father-in-law came and told him, appoint some elders to do some things. The body becomes easy. So you must be strong. You must develop the capacity to build by building systems that will sustain whatever you are doing. Wise leaders build systems that sustain the vision. Wisdom teaches you how to organize people, processes, and resources so that progress continues even when challenges arises. So strong leadership is not built on hard work alone. It is built on wise structure. So the fourth capacity you must develop as a leader is system and structure. If you don't build this, you will fail. You will fail woefully, right? And then the last capacity you must develop is influence. Influence is the climax of the capacity a leader must have. That's where everybody talks about influence. But this is where it begins. Influence is the invisible evidence of leadership. Authority may be delegated, but influence must be developed. You don't receive influence, you earn it. You learn it. Authority can be given. I can give you authority. But if influence, you will have to earn influence. Position can make people obey you. Only influence makes people willingly follow you. And influence grows through impact. And impact grows through service. So the goal of all this is to be able to serve. The more value you constantly add to people, the greater your influence becomes. True leadership is measured not by the number of people under authority, but by the number of lives transformed because you serve them well. That's influence. The number of people that you have transformed amounts to people you can influence. So you have to develop these 5 capacities for you to be able to lead efficiently. And like I've already given you an example of Moses. Moses clearly demonstrated these 5 powers. He received a vision from God, developed new skills in the wilderness, he grew in humility and discipline. He learned wisdom for leading millions of people. As he faithfully served God's purposes, he gained influence over an entire nation. You see, but his first attempt to deliver Israel failed because he acted before he had been empowered. 40 years later, he returned, not merely with passion, but with capacity. You see, so the lesson is simple. Good intentions are not enough. Leadership requires preparation. It requires what? Preparation. So prepare to lead. In conclusion, leadership is more than having a desire to make a difference. It is developing the capacity to make that difference. You can have desires, but if you don't develop the capacity to make the difference, there's nothing. If responsibility is beginning of leadership, empowerment is the process of becoming the leader your assignment requires. Responsibility is the beginning of leadership, but empowerment is the process of becoming the leader your assignment requires. And without that leadership, your assignment will remain undone. So I encourage you to develop your vision, sharpen your skills, strengthen your discipline, build structures, and serve people until your influence grows. Because leadership is not simply taking charge. It's about becoming the kind of person that can confidently be followed. Others can follow you confidently. That's about leadership. So take your journey of leadership and build capacity. So go in and build these capacities. Like I said, it's not first of all jumping up and down. It's finding the right things, finding what connects to your core, finding what is needed for you, right? So in the next episode, we'll build more on, I like I said other time, I'm preparing a topic on how to lead from behind, because for many of us, leadership will not be that you are the one standing at the forefront. Yes. And if you listen to my story, I've told you before how I began my leadership journey. It was from behind. I led from behind. Yeah. So sometimes you have to lead from behind, and watch out for that episode. It will bless you a lot. But before then, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you share this with your friend, and make sure you like and leave a comment on the comment section. Have a wonderful day.